Recording. Okay, cool. All right, here we are. So the session we're going to run today, Andy and Rob, is a sort of Reytar's escape. It wasn't a session I originally had planned where I thought we would go straight to the mountain exploration. And then when Mickey was like, well, I'll be in London, and Dan was like, I'll be away. And I thought, oh, I should just leave it for a week. I don't want to run the mountain with just two. But actually, this one would fit in really nice. So whether it was a bit of like, what can I do with this? What can I do with this? And then as things happen, they grow arms and legs. So hopefully it will be a sort of an interesting session. We're going to open the session. We're going to open the scene in the Homeward Bound bar. And we've got Dax Gendar stood by the bar, his favorite bar stool.
I thought you were just saying Dax Gendar stood. I was like, yeah, he is. It's the day after. Perhaps is it the day after, or is it a couple of days? According to the diary, it's 2 days before. I looked at the diary, at the calendar when you fired it up. I think we did the dam. Then Reytar had his bad day, and then it's the following day essentially.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we're a couple of sort of days. This is going to be a couple of days after the dam. Okay. And you're back at the Homeward Bound bar, and we've got Opal Twice-Vact there as well. And maybe you've run into her. Maybe she's given you a buzz, or you've given her a buzz to sort of hook up, and she sits back and she chews a big drag on a hoagie, on a cigar, and says, okay, I say, how'd it go? You have fun with your little bang bang?
I tell you something, that pig saved my life. You found us a good one there. Yeah, and he'll raise a glass and just say, you've done us a solid. I think we'll keep him.
Oh, glad to help, Holmes. Now, I've got another little job. I've got a little job for you this time. A little something that's just come my way. But I'm a bit busy at the moment. So I maybe figured the kind of thing you might like. It's a quick job, but you're going to have to move fast. There's a guy. The fewer of you there are, the better, trying to attract no attention. There's this guy, and he needs off the starport fast, no questions asked. Now, I say, this guy's hot. I mean, smoking hot. I mean, red hot. Okay, so the Syndicate, which is, you've never heard of the Syndicate. So the Syndicate are on his tail, and the SPA, the Starport Authority, they've got him as a marked man for leaking info on cargo shipments. He's got to get off the Starport. Now, the way I figure it, he's a desperate man. Naturally, I thought of you. Now, this guy is a bit different to your usual white-collar crim. He's educated, clean-cut, bit green around the collar. What can I say? He's a nerd. Now, Syndicate have roughed him up a bit. Guy looks pretty scared. Whatever he's got himself into, he's out of his depth. I thought of you. Do you think you can help him get off the Starport?
Sounds like the kind of thing we could do, darling. Oh, yeah, I've no love for the law. And when it comes to criminal gangs, ain't nothing as good as ours. So, what's in it for us? You know, I like a man of intellect, and could be useful to the crew, but we get him off the station. What's in our interest?
Whatever you charge him. Just make sure you charge him up the ass.
I heard the words desperate and green. Those sound good to me, love. I've nothing to do this afternoon. Let's get it done.
Now, there's a few problems.
Of course there are. There's always problems.
There's always problems. Now, this guy, he's holed up. So the easy bit is going to go and pick him up. Okay, you get there, no problem. Then, because he's wanted by the SPA, they're going to have cameras. They're going to have security looking for him. You've got to get him from where you pick him up to the docks where your ship is. Now, there's biometrics, biometric scanners, gene tech. They track everyone in and out the starport. There's no way you can get him out without the SPA knowing. Fortunately, she takes a cig. She blows. Perfect hoop. Fortunately, we got a man on the inside.
Why am I not surprised?
Get yourself down to tourist services. We've got a guy on the inside by the name of Mabigar Cassie.
Mabigar Cassie.
Mabigar. He's a bureaucrat. Calls himself Mab, but he's a bureaucrat, and he can change this guy's ID on the system.
But that's a neat trick.
Yeah, just basically change all these, just swap them over for someone else. And we've used him before, and he's reliable, but I believe his supervisor, she's a bit of a hard ass. So just keep your wits about you for her. So you're going to have to pick him up, get him over to Mab. Mab will change his profile on the system, so then you can get through security and get him onto your ship. You're gonna have to move fast, okay? So I'm gonna tell you where he is. I'm gonna show you a map. I'm gonna bring
Give me
you
the
a map.
location. How quick's this net closing?
Hard to say. There's the Syndicate are after him, and the SPA are after him. He's holed up in this janitor's closet. Down by the brokerage. Now, he managed to get a message out. He's been there for 24 hours now, so he's probably a bit smelly. And probably a bit hungry and a bit thirsty. So he's like, let me just pull up a map of the Highport.
Smelly I can deal with, darling. That pig you gave us fucking stinks.
Yeah. Okay, so can you see that, or have I changed it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's on.
So basically, this Cordan Highport is a multi-story, roughly circular Highport. This is one of the levels. Okay, and they're all similar. There's variation between the levels, but this is one of the levels. This is the particular level you're on. This is where the bars and the brothels are. So this is this is where the Homeward Bound bar is. These are sort of down here. You've got the residential areas, ethnic quarters for some of the aliens who prefer their own space. Brokerage. This he's got himself from residential area to the brokerage, and he's holed up. He's holed up sort of actually not quite in the brokerage, just on the sort of intersection there between the hostelries and the sort of brokerage. So just basically round the sort of corner.
Right.
Now these blue lines, these are like maglev lines. Okay, there's this kind of like underground tube system. There's no independent transport. Most people will either walk or I suppose there might be some like little taxi things, but these are the main sort of maglev, these sort of underground train lines, and they're on different levels. There you've got tourist services, which is where you're going to meet. The guy.
That's where Mab is.
Yeah, that's where Mab is. And then you get through customs, and then your ship is in the civilian shipyard, so it's not far to go.
Yeah, but it's tricky. Presumably the maglevs are all going to have security cameras and scanners and what have you throughout. So until we've got his details changed, we probably want to stay away from public transport.
There's two options. I say. The cameras I'll recognize him unless you disguise him. So you've got the option of a disguise. There's no biometrics this side of customs.
Okay.
But security could run biometrics on him if they cop for him.
Yeah.
So you don't need to use biometrics to get onto the trains, but there will be some cameras knocking about. Now you could try and hack the cameras if you've got that capacity. Might take a bit of time, and if you get caught, we'll come down here like a ton of bricks. There are other tunnels. There are other sort of passages and ways where you might drop down. They might have their own. They'll be a bit slower because you'll be on foot.
Yeah.
Which, the train is going to be the quickest. So, but potentially.
Possibly a bit risky unless I can really change his face, which
unless you
Dax doesn't know yet. It's already been changed a little bit.
So, any questions?
Dax will sort of take a drag on his own cigarette and he'll try and blow a smoke ring sort of straight through one of hers, just as a bit of a show-off move. And he'll look at it and he'll say, "We're burning time here, darling. I can't promise you we won't space him the minute we get him aboard. The guy's a prick. We'll chuck him out in an airlock. But this is much more fun than what I had planned for the afternoon. So let's go for it."
Hey man, but I trust you, Holmes. Like, you're good people. I believe the guy is a first-class prick, but and he really just wants off the starport, and he's willing to pay proper green to do it. So
people are surprised, you Opal. I've known this scientist fella for many years. You'd think on paper he'd be a prick, big intellectual dude, all of that stuff. He's a lovely fella. I'll make my own judgment on this guy, but I better get to him.
Yeah, you make your own judgment, Holmes. So she claps you on the back, and one last thing, man. Like, careful with the weapons. You could go back to your starship to bring some weapons through. There's no weapons allowed on Starport. You've got the bone pistol and you've got the stealth dagger, which you could try to get through. It's going to be difficult to do that.
Yeah, and I think for what he had planned, which was just coming to hang out in the bar and chill after the dam, Dax won't have brought anything. Like, if it's even remotely dangerous, he'll always try and sneak the bone pistol in. But he's not.
You've got time to go back and get that stuff if you want.
He's going to say, this mission calls for stealth, covert operation, if you like. And I'm the master of a covert operation. I'm not a man who likes violence. I don't do killing people. We get him out fast. The shit goes down, I'll have the boys ready on the ship.
The shit goes down, you better be ready.
If
the shit goes down. So she claps you, like, gives you, like, you shake hands, you both stand up, finish your drinks, you shake hands, and she says, "You need anything, you call me, okay, Holmes?"
I might just do that, darling. Now, if you don't mind, I got a smelly man in a locker to go find.
Let's take you to that very smelly locker.
Yes. That is an uncomfortable 24 hours.
And there we go. Let's just put on. We want that back on, really, don't we? But we want it a bit quieter because you're sort of in a locker. Okay, so you've been 24 hours in this locker, Reytar. Basically, it's a disused janitor's closet right on the sort of edge of the broker section, and they known amongst the traders as Shagging Central. Because about 6 years ago, there was, like, every year there's a party for the Emperor's birthday, and because this particular closet is not really used anymore, couples would go off and have a shag, and someone got caught doing it, and there was pictures and everything, and it was all really embarrassing because it was like one guy and someone else's wife, and it was all a great big to do, and now ever so after, everyone just calls it Shagging Central. Like, does anyone shag in there? No one really knows. Maybe people go in there and take drugs, or like have little conversations, quiet conversations, but this is where you are. You're in Shagging Central there. You've got some brushes, you've got some buckets and stuff like that, and sweeping brushes and all the kind of stuff that you might sort of find in there. This guy's going to come and find you. Okay, you've been told that to get ready to let this guy in. This guy called Dax Gendar. He's going to come and get you out there, and then you've got a short trip across part of the starport to get out. Is there anything you might want to be? What are you thinking right now? What are you thinking?
Oh, how did I get myself into that? I made a mistake, and then another mistake, and then I'm just being hit by the monitor. Oh, 24 hours in the shagging center. Oh, I used to be educated, intellectual, charismatic, and now I'm worth the brush which I see next to me, and brush is worth more than my life right now, which tells me that I should try and grab the brush with me if it's worth something. And in case, maybe it will help me get away with something. So I would just hold to this brush, obviously quite very useless, but I'm just looking for any moral support after 24 hours, no food, no drink, and just this
Actually,
brush.
there is a tap in there. There is water supply in there. So I'm going to say because the bee, stuff
shagging central water, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to decide if you really want to drink that. Is it your last resort, maybe?
And when you turn the tap, there's this because like the water's not run through it. It comes through, so you have to run it for a few minutes to sort of maybe get a drink. And maybe you've just had a bit of a freshen up, wash of the face, wash of your hands, wash of your crotch, and stuff like that. But basically, you are pretty smelly and pretty and definitely hungry. No food in there.
And I kind of look in myself, and I'm trying to inspect how I dressed as I left my flat. I'm trying to understand, like, am I wearing still my kind of black broker costume, or I'm wearing some sort of pajama when I escaped? So
you got dressed. You didn't leave in your pajamas. I'm going to say you managed to get dressed.
Okay.
And get out of there. You're not too far from home really, but
Okay.
you were sort of like, how am I going to? You basically ran in a bit desperate, really.
Yeah, I can remember.
The Syndicate, those thugs, the Syndicate, the mob, they said they were going to come back in 24 hours and break some legs if you didn't have the money. Now that 24-hour deadline has gone.
Has gone. Wow. Okay. So I really tried to look for something except brushes and buckets. And I'm also thinking, maybe if I have to at some point to disguise myself, maybe I'll try to disguise as a janitor, maybe as a very last resort. So I'm thinking of grabbing a brush and a bucket.
There's some like overalls in there.
Sorry?
There's some overalls in there.
Overalls.
Unusual stains on them, but
yeah, you know what I mean by overalls? Like a very rough kind of clothing that goes over the top. Yeah.
You know, I think it's not a bad idea to dress as a janitor. For maybe it won't help much, and people will recognize me by the face, also the biometrics. But as a very, very low chance, I'd like to still try and dress as a janitor and grab a bucket and a mop. Okay. And I'm waiting, I guess, for Dax, for this savior, for this almost like if we were in 2023, I would say Jesus, maybe.
I couldn't possibly say.
Just
bang, 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 bang. It's a knock on the door, and it's not just a normal knock. It's like a ba 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 ba. That's the knock. That's the knock you've been told to wait for. Do you want to open the door?
Yes. I definitely opened the door. I'm extremely exhausted, and I'm just trusting my my destiny. Okay, I'm opening the door, and I see.
You see? Describe yourself, Dax.
So Dax is quite a skinny guy, probably about 6'1", 6'2". He's got one subtle but relatively obvious bionic arm, and a few other minor cyber enhancements around the face and eyes. Some relatively fresh scars. All those cybernetics look a little bit new, and he's wearing a what looks initially like sort of a set of combat trousers and a leather jacket. But if you inspect it closely, it's subtly armored. It's like armor weave cloth, and he carries himself in a probably almost unpleasantly cocky manner. He's a very sort of relaxed and easygoing guy. He doesn't look he's not looking combat ready or anything. He's not a frontline fighter. He just looks like nothing in the world bothers him, and nothing will surprise him, and he'll try anything once. But when you open the door, he looks quite taken aback. Suddenly, so it goes from relaxed to quite surprised. And he looks Reytar up and down, and he just says, I was told I was looking for an educated man. You haven't seen one, have you? You appear to be cleaning the floor in here, my friend.
So Reytar, describe how you look as Dax opens the door there.
Well, I look extremely exhausted in this janitor's clothing, holding to this mop nervously and unnecessarily. And as I see this almost like a savior person, I kind of remember that I used to be charismatic, and maybe I need to make a joke or something. And I struggle to smile. I just really I see he's shocked, and I see like the situation is really I need to pull it off so he likes me, and I'm like, you like what you see?
And Dax will look he'll look him up and down, and there's that recognition that he's not dealing with a standard maintenance worker, but also he can see the damage to his face where he's been hit with this monitor, and he's obviously he's done like a quick wash in that sink, but he's been hiding in a cupboard. He's completely gaunt and shattered, and Dax will look him up and down and say, yeah, I like what I see a lot. I think you and I are going to get along. I heard you were wealthy at some point. We'll come to that later. We got to move. And he's going to just look at the janitor's clothes and the mop, and he'll say, they weren't wrong about you being a smart fella. That's not a bad disguise. If we can hide your face somehow, we might be able to get the maglev, get us up to customs as quick as possible. Is there anything in that room, Mike, a hat or anything with a hood on it that wouldn't look terribly out of place on an off-duty maintenance worker?
There's some baseball caps, and there's some hair nets and things like that. There's some tubs of bleach.
I mean, we could bleach his hair, but I think a man might have been through enough. I think actually a hairnet and a baseball cap's pretty convincing. People will see that immediately as menial labor, so we might just get away with it.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, Dax, great thinking on the spot. Just as a last thought, maybe we won't trick the cameras this way, because they recognize by
face
the
recognition.
They recognize by the skull shape, not by the hat. You can't trick like future-like cameras with the. I'm thinking to myself, you can't trick future-like cameras with a hat. So it's probably better to do that than nothing. But we might need to look maybe for something else, like there's mechanics who are doing repairs. They used to wear those masks. So maybe we could look around and see if in this closet there is other, not just janitors equipment. And if there is not, we might keep that in mind.
What kind of mask? Like a
welding mask.
Like a welding mask.
Yeah. I'm going to say there aren't some welding masks, but there are some protective eye goggles.
Okay. Dax is going to look across at the buckets and just he's going to sort of look around and go, one of them could fit on your head, you know. I tell you what, I've done this before. What you could do, you could lean on my arm, right? We stick a bucket on your head, and I just tell people you're pissed. We stagger our way across, and then he'll grin, and he'll just say, I'm kidding.
There's some cones. There are some cones. You know those cones they put down for like mopping.
Yeah.
You know, like little kind of like
wet floor signs.
Wet floor signs, yeah.
And
yes.
And I would reply almost like remembering what RPG games like, and that there is some stats, and I would say that would give me +10 to the beauty.
Dax is a big gamer. He's like, oh, I love it.
Okay.
We could do that, or we could take a slightly longer route and go by foot. Now, if we don't take the maglev train, we might need to dodge a few more patrols, but I think we probably got that between us. Might be better to take it slow and steady rather than rushing up there. What do you think? I'm told you're an intelligent man, and that's not my forte. I'm more of a man of action.
Let me take you back to the map of the Highport so you can sort of see.
Yeah.
I think we're going to say that you're in this sort of bottom corner in Brokerage. Okay. And there are ways onto the maglev train. This is like one line here, there. So that would be the sort of line you would probably get. Or you could sort of try and go down a few floors and try and go across through maybe some less traveled passages.
There's a part of Dax that having been in the Navy and having been a pirate for far more time than he's been in the Navy, he's hunted people, but he's evaded a lot of people, and he's snuck into a lot of places. For a little while, he was the go-to assassin for the Dragon's Flame pirate crew, and he would sneak his way into other people's bases and assassinate like the high-ranking people. And there's a bit of him that values that stealth of some of those back passages, those fire escapes, those ways that nobody travels. But also there's a bit of him that's kind of thrilled to do it again, because what we've been doing recently is a little bit more sort of heroic and public facing, and this is kind of his bread and butter. So he'll on my agent, Mike, or my like portable device, whatever it is. Am I able to call up the map of the starport roughly? Not a blueprint, but a rough schematic. So he's got an idea.
Anyone can do that at any time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll sort of look at Reytar and I'll just say, the final decision's yours, my friend. It's your life on the line, because I can walk away from this. Not that I'm going to, but I could. I think we could take some much more subtle, safe routes down here. It might take a little bit longer, but it'll also be a lot more fun. But whatever you choose, that's the way we'll go.
I've done enough mistakes on my own in the recent days. I'd like to follow someone with more experience in life than I am. So I'm definitely going to choose the slow option, but I'm obviously wearing the janitors, and I am grabbing the bucket and the mop, because I kind of feel it, and I even get some water, by the way, in the bucket. So my bucket is half full with water. And
did you say you're going to put something? Are you going to put something on your head? Are you going to pretend? Are you going to put something here? Or just go as you are? Put some goggles on your forehead, maybe, or try and break
the baseball cap. Hair would. I'll try to hide them as much as I can. I have long hair, so don't know how successful.
Yeah, if you like a hairnet to tie it up, so it just looks.
Yeah, hairnet, a baseball cap, and goggles. Yeah, goggles for sure, just in case.
Yeah, I think all of that's good. The only thing that Dax will suggest before we leave, because I think that's brilliant, because all we want, if we're avoiding the routes with as many cameras, is we want something that at a glance, if we bump into security officers in a corridor and they're not scanning with cameras and stuff, they're not just going to look at him and go, there he is. That I think will do a good job. The other option, or another thing that we could do on the way, and Dax will suggest, is if you're going to take the bucket of water, I think it's a really good idea because it gives us all sorts of options. But we might as well fill that bucket with the bleach instead of the water, because that thrown in somebody's face, if we really needed to, could be a bit more distracting.
Ooh. And
Okay, nice.
I suggest maybe if Dax has got a spare hand, maybe he gets this bucket with bleach, because he's probably more skilled with throwing something. And Dax, I really have 3 in dexterity, 4 in endurance. but I say it kind of in showing my hands, and I'm saying
Not a callous.
those hands
Never done a hard day's work.
will never ever be able to throw something even at a close proximity. Look what it cost. Look what wrong decisions costed me. So maybe Dax could grab this bleach, and I just grab the water.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And Dax will just turn to him and say, you don't have to worry now, my friend. I've been in many scrapes like that, and he'll sort of flex his metal fingers and just say, I don't have that many problems with it these days. I can throw a thing or two if I have to. Is there a second set of janitor's robes in there? You know, yeah. So I think if we both go dressed up as janitorial staff, we get a mop and a squeegee between us. Nice little melee weapon if we really need it.
Yeah, no one pays attention to the cleaners, do they?
Exactly. I'll also whack a hairnet and a cap on, just so that we look very similar, so that we look like we're working together. And I'll do the same. I'll take a bucket, but my bucket's going to have bleach in, and that's going to be in my cyber arm, just so that there's no weight to it at all for Dax. And he's just looking for an excuse to smack someone around the head with it. He's suddenly come up with this idea that it would be utterly hilarious fun. He doesn't seem at all stressed by the situation, and it'd be interesting to know how Reytar feels about it. Like Dax is he's not.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Dax is like, this is day's work, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's not even questioning Reytar about, he's made some jokes about money and stuff, but he almost seems to be just in this because it'll be an interesting afternoon fun to do, and to see if they can beat the station security staff. And he just doesn't even look like this is going to be a problem.
And I look at the Dax, and I definitely see that Dax is from another planet. He's calm. He's used to getting away apparently from very difficult situations, nothing like my life before. And I kind of secretly hope that I'll one day will get in his kind of proximity, where I could experience some of this adventurous life. And I feel like as Dax finished dressing, I'm like, Dax, you are the gem. And I also a little bit push it out of myself. Maybe it's not that natural on the first glance, because I kind of feel that I owe the guy, and this is as much as I can give him right now, except those couple of thousands credits. But we will get to that later, as he said. So.
No rush on the money. You can work off any debt. That's not a problem.
You haven't settled. Is this gonna cost you? I mean, are you going to talk about money now, or are you going to decide?
All Dax is just going to say to him, he's going to say, look, I got some good friends, and we got a fantastic ship, and we get you off this station. Now, at some point, you'll owe us a favor, and that'll come back, and that's fine. However, we don't need to talk about that now. May not even be money. You should see the crew we've got. We got a pig. We got a postman. We got a fucking scientist. We got them from all places. We're just in it to have some fun. Now, I think you make a great addition to the crew, my friend. You got some smart thoughts on you. You just need to learn to roll with the punches a little. And he sort of smiles at the state of Reytar's face. He'll say, we can teach you all of that. I consider myself a mentor. And of course, I am the captain of the Coup de Grace, as the ship is called. So I think we should make a move.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not going to head. You're not going to head. I'm going to show you the maglev train, because I'm really proud. I'm really pleased with it.
We might use it at another point. I mean, once we've got cleared from customs, if we can get Mab to change the documents, we might just hop on the maglev when the biometrics aren't the same.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Totally.
nice.
Yeah,
Love that.
those are the maglev trains, basically like underground, like London Underground kind of things. Magnetic, so they levitate, aren't they? They're magnetic and levitate really quick. But you're not going to take that, but you are going to have to go into brokerage, into the sort of area
Yeah.
to kind of get across to get to this door, which has got a staircase that's going to take you down a few floors, and you're going to try and go across, heading towards tourist services. Is that about right? Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Right. So let's just take you into let's take you into brokerage.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is brokerage. It's a bit like an old school market, like trading market. You've got samples of cargo that people will bring there and try to sell, and the brokers will walk around inspecting the quality, putting bids in. There's kind of like computer options to sort of do that automated. You could do it all from the comfort of your own home. But if someone that nobody knows arrives and they're selling 1,000 tons of common ore, like you want to look at the quality of that ore.
Yeah.
So this is the trading sort of market, and people bring samples and there's deals to be done, and there's people sort of milling around. Reytar, there's someone just ahead that you know.
Of course there is.
And they know you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
How far ahead?
You're gonna have to try and sneak past them, perhaps, or maybe just engage them. It's Tom the broker.
Jesus. Look at the state of him.
It's broker Tom. So Tom is a broker bot. Okay, AI, but not like super AI, so not conscious, but basically like an automated broker. And they're super clever, pretty smart, pretty quick, good at sort of deals, and good with social skills, and good at investigating, looking at the sort of quality of things. So he's kind of mooching about. You can see him just ahead. Now to get to the door, like you could try and get past him, but he might see you. So you could just try and engage him if you want. You could go and chat to him. He hasn't necessarily seen you yet, but you've seen him.
And I see him as I opened this shagging closet, and I can, okay, he is there. Is it kind of this situation?
No, you've gone a little bit. You've gone a little bit down the corridor.
Already walked some. Okay. So yes.
He's like down on the trading floor. Perhaps you're on a little balcony that kind of goes around.
Yeah, and he didn't see me yet. So I'm going to have a quick thing here, and so if I stay on that balcony for a little bit longer, is there a chance that he will notice me, or it's kind of expectable that he will notice me only once I get closer to him?
Well, let's make a roll, shall we?
Oh, the dice are rolling.
Sorry, I probably should be more experienced with those questions.
No, that is. I was about to ask exactly the same question.
Because I want to ask Dex's opinion. I'm sorry, I'm describing now as a player, but I don't understand if I have this opportunity or not. And
yeah, that's it. I was about to ask Mike exactly the same thing to see if we had a chance to just private roll as well.
So let's.
He doesn't seem to have seen you so far.
Sorry?
He doesn't seem to have seen you so far.
He doesn't see. Okay. So I turn to Dax with my back to the trading floor, and I kind of almost rotate Dax a little bit with me and saying, look, mate, a tiny problem. This robot, he knows me. And probably, since I've been here around for a while, we might get in touch with some other guys who have seen me before.
Dax will just sort of look out. He'll look at the robot and he'll say, "Yeah, what's that fella do there in the suit?"
He's like a broker. He's like a trader. He does the same job that
Yeah.
Reytar does.
Yeah. So sorry, I have to clarify something about this AI. Is it AI which is designed for trading, or is it AI as a robot which is generally intellectual, capable of understanding the surroundings, the news processing? Like, what are the chances of actually a robot understanding that I'm in trouble?
What does it do? Okay, so it's basically like an expert broker
Yes.
designed for the trade market.
Okay.
Specialist in gourmet foods. It has updated programming that allows it to sort merchandise and well-developed olfactory sensor to assess food and drink.
Oh God, it can smell. That's bad.
It's basically like humanoid with an upper-class accent and can appear snobbish. It's able to take notice of micro expressions and use it to gain advantage in tense negotiations. It's got quite sophisticated communication, and it can converse automatically with the starport. It's got a satellite uplink, and it can position itself. It can sort of take advantage of little idiosyncrasies amongst opposing traders and brokers to exploit that. It can send encrypted communications. They're all different, these broker bots, and they come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. They tend to be vaguely humanoid. And they tend to develop distinct personalities of their own. And they are these programmed in, or do they develop? Like, is it the whim of the programmer? No one really knows. Like Broker Tom, the broker bot, he's got a bit of a reputation for his sort of right-wing politics.
Awesome.
Right. He's got like he's always saying, "Oh, just send the army in, like just send the bloody army in." You know,
exactly that. As I know Tom for a while, exactly that I say to Dax, standing behind to this robot Tom. So I share this information with Dax in an exactly same manner with exactly same details.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I ask Dax what are your thoughts.
So, from here, can you see anyone else who might know you across this trading floor, or is it just the robot?
So I'm probably looking like
Make
that.
a recon roll. Make a recon roll. Do you have recon?
Recon? Is it a skill?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can look for it. You've not got it.
No.
Okay, so there is a skill on your character sheet called Unskilled Skill.
Unskilled skill. I see it. -3. Nice.
Yeah, so click that, and you can use. You can probably use. Okay, see that. You can use intellect as the dice modifier to see if there's anyone you recognize.
So average.
Yeah.
Type
Average.
normal. Mode public role. Skill level -3. Modifier intellect. Okay. Yep. I'm rolling it.
Can't see anyone.
So
Dax, I can't see anyone.
Yeah, so as Reytar comes back and he's not spotted anyone, Dax will say, well, one option we've got is I could distract him. I've done a fair bit of trading in my day. I could probably keep him busy while you slip by.
That's nice.
He looks a little bit disappointed at the bucket of bleach, but he says, I don't think I'm going to convince him in this getup. But if you fancy it, I'll nip down there and distract him. And you slip by, I'll come meet you in 5 minutes at the other end of the gantry.
Okay.
I say to Dax, look, he can smell things, and if I be sleeping, he may smell me. Just maybe before you go and distract, which sounds like a great idea, Dax, maybe just give me that. And I, like, with my bare hand, because I'm a little bit in trouble right now, I take some bleach and I put it a little bit here
Yes.
underneath my clothing and do like tiny bits of stains, like so
Yes.
it doesn't look overly intense. But I try to like even put some underneath my clothing near
A
my
bleach
armpit.
bath.
And I do it. Yeah, I understand it's a little bit toxic, and my hand won't feel that great. But overall, it's just bleach. It's not a big deal. So I'm saying now I have high chances probably to come by his back, so he won't smell me.
Yeah, okay, that's
Let's
genius.
try this
That's
destruction
genius.
move.
Perfect.
That's genius.
Perfect.
And Dax, did you want to go down and speak to this distract this robot?
Dax is he's gonna shed the baseball cap and the hairnet and the clothes. He'll sort of offer the uniform and the hat and stuff to Reytar to carry with him. I think we leave the other mop and the other bucket behind because he's going to look a bit ridiculous carrying lots of stuff and it'll be more noisy and things.
Not necessarily. I mean, like, could still sort of carry it, but I mean, it's up to you.
Well, I'll leave Reytar with that decision. Dax has got his eyes on the prize because Dax has a genuine trading opportunity to talk to Tom about. Like this isn't bullshit. So he knows that he can talk about this.
Okay.
But he's going to take off the janitor's uniform, shake himself down so he looks a bit more like a rough and ready starship captain as he came in.
And as Dax shares with me that he might do a bit of trading with robot, I'm saying, look, to make it look more genuine, I have got some credits. I know it's been just the beginning of our journey, but I tend to trust you. Try not to spend it as we might need it in the future, or it's going to be your reward. But take those credits, and I give him 20,000 credits. Actually, everything I have.
Dax disappears.
You spend it if you need to convince the robot as a last resort.
And Dax at this point just warms up. He's like, he sees two things. He sees a guy that's very trusting and a guy that only just having met him gave him 20,000 credits. And what Dax sees is not an opportunity to disappear with 20,000 credits, but to use this guy to make, because I took Dax like 5 years to make his first 20,000 credits. He's made many more since then, but immediately he's like, we need this guy on our crew. Like it's not what he's got now, it's what he's got the potential for.
Yeah.
And he'll nod and he'll say, I appreciate that. You're playing your part, and I think that's great. I'll turn this 20,000 credits into 40, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Okay, sounds like a plan. We kind of and I think to myself, we kind of try to disguise, maybe last resort as a trade, like with those money, so they go out of my inventory. Let me just my finances.
Can I just
I have
tell you briefly about this beer that I've just poured out? It says, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see it.
No.
Chocolate peanut butter porter.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to sip it.
There needs to be a review of that.
I can taste the peanut butter.
Really?
I can, yeah. I can smell peanut butter. I can smell chocolate.
If you give me a second, I'll show you my favorite beer in a moment.
Oh, okay.
It's called Evil Genius Purple Monkey Dishwasher Chocolate Peanut Butter Porter.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. It's in that.
I need to get me some of that. That sounds ace.
It does, right? Yeah. Oh, Rob, this is like genius. Like, you guys, this is exactly the session I was sort of hoping for, where you would sort of like be ingenious with stuff.
I love the fact that, because it's really difficult to drop a new character into an established crew, and a bit easier for Reytar because we only met Scratch like the last session, so we haven't known Scratch that long either. But it's one of those lovely sessions that puts a bond between two characters because they've been through adversity together. No matter what happens next, no matter what the rest of the crew do, the captain's totally sold on this guy because he's the right combination of naive but trusting, but also that deep down Dax just loves people. He likes this guy. Yeah. He wants to not like this guy. He wants to use him for payday. But a bit of him just loves the fact that this guy's got him into an adventure when he was just going to drink all day.
Before I show the beer, I just want to remind that we live in the UK and we are very tolerant to people of every how is it called? I'm not sure. Of every orientation.
Of course.
Because all of my friends, all of them, say that I'm very homosexual for drinking that. It's a pear cider Kopperberg. It's basically just a sweet. It's basically just a sweet thing, like a
Sweet
like
homosexual drink is what it is.
I love a Kopperberg. Saying
Yeah,
nothing
man,
more.
Kopperberg, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's my favorite drink. It's like
You drink it away, Andrew.
I will.
It's totally fine. Right. Okay. Let's. Okay. So Dax, you're going to go down and engage this guy. Engage this robot. So that he's not sentient. He's not conscious in the way that you or I. But he's a high functioner. They're a high functioner, and they develop their own personality. So you're going to go down this staircase, and sort of walk over to him. And what do you say?
So Dax is going to walk up very warmly and just approach Tom, and he'll sort of try and catch his ocular sensors from as far away as possible. He's walking with the swaggering confidence of a starship captain that is effortless for him. And he'll walk up and he'll snap his fingers and he'll just say, excuse me, are you a broker?
He looks over and goes, "Oh, hello, old chap. What can I do for you?"
I like the accent. Cracking. Now, I happen to have 20 tons of Cordanian pears sitting in an unnamed location. They're in deep storage, excellent condition. Purchased them about a year ago, put them in deep freeze. We were hoping the market would appreciate. Could you give me a price on Cordanian pears today? We didn't pay that much, but I don't want to sell until the market's high.
Ooh, now, what did you pay for those pears? Let's have a look.
That is a good point. I think it was either 20 or 40 tons. I think it was 20.
Let's have a look. So
not that it matters, you know. We've got
those
some tons
are in the cargo of the courier. I've not put them down. Whatever they cost.
Yeah.
Can you make? Have you got broker as a skill?
I don't. I've got persuade or deception, but no broker.
Okay, so it's going to be an unskilled skill.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, we're going to say that you paid. Let me just see what the going rate is for the pairs. And I know this game can get quite detailed, Andy. So there is a table for this.
There is. You can work out the going rate. I think we bought 20 tons at a pretty decent. There was a time when Mike was trying to make us space pirates, and we thought we could probably actually just be greengrocers and just make money trading in goods, and we still have them. So
right. Common electronics, manufactured goods, common raw materials, common consumables. Okay, base price £500 per ton. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a broker roll, which is an unskilled roll.
Yeah. And
you can use the best modifier you can get. So you could use social if you wanted to use your social skill. I'd be happy if you used your education. Like basically, you're going to tell me how you're going to do it.
So I think the way it works is my social is bad. My education and my intellect are both +0. So I'm going to use intellect. I think, you know, it's not a skill I'm going to use Dex for example. So he's going to use his intellect because, you know, he knows that we actually have these pairs and he knows what we bought them for. So this is a genuine trade conversation. And if the rate isn't good and if the broker sort of out argues him, he's sort of hoping that he can really engage its AI and get it doing what it does best, seeing him as a bit of a rube and giving him a rubbish rate, in which case he'll offer to go and get the goods and then just not sell them to him. So he doesn't mind failing the check as long as it holds his whole attention.
Yeah, but it's fun to see if you can do it well, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. So we're saying average roll?
Right, so you're going to roll broker.
Yeah.
You're going to choose which dice modifier you're going to use. Are you going to use characteristic, intellect, or education, or
intellect?
Intellect. Now you're going to apply a -1,
right? Because
Cordan is an agricultural world and there's a shitload of pears just on the planet, but we don't know what the quality is like this year.
We don't, but also yes, we're on Cordan and they are Cordanian pears.
They are Cordanian pears, so you're basically selling him stuff that is super close.
-1.
So roll your dice. So it'll be a
Here we
minus
go.
1. So it's not going to be great, is it?
No, it's not. Effective -5.
Effective -5. So So you've basically rolled a 3, didn't you?
Yep.
So he would give you, and I'm sort of doing this for myself, really, just to see
good to
exactly
know
how
the
the system works. Yeah. So you've basically got 500 credits worth. You've got 20 tons at 500 credits a ton. So you've got 10,000 credits worth of pairs.
Yeah.
Is what you've got. Who'd have thought on a Wednesday night would be role playing the selling of pairs?
This is. I've been hoping to do this for like 3 years since we bought those damn pairs.
Yeah, and he sort of like looks at you, gives nothing away, proper poker face, and then he just sort of strokes his chin and goes, Well, the pear harvest on Cordan is very good this year. Very good this year. But of course, there's the logistics of transport and such alike. And the year you purchased them last year, even better year. But I struggle to go more than 5,500 credits for the 20 tons.
5.5. Oh man,
they're worth 10.
Yeah, I was certainly hoping to go above that because I mean we bought these almost a year ago, back when the harvest was fat. I mean, these are not your grandmother's Cordanian pears. These are last year's Cordanian pears, my friend. These are plump and juicy. I've been struggling not to eat them myself. You can do me better than that. I know you can. And he'll sort of clap him on the shoulder in a really uncomfortable, unfamiliar way, just overly familiar with him, just desperately trying to keep his attention while Reytar sneaks by.
You've not got them on you, have you?
I don't have a sample, but they're here in the Starport. I could get you one in the next half hour.
Okay, so while this is going on, Reytar, you're going to try and make a beeline past him, aren't you?
Yeah, as Dax has left his mop, his bucket, and a clothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab his clothing and add as a fake stomach, like just so in case we ever need it.
Mate, you're a natural.
Try to kind of slightly make it natural. And I put the bucket with the water. I grab the bucket with the bleach and the mop, and I'm heading towards
trying to sort of get round, towards the destination. Okay, so you're going to make a stealth check.
Wow.
You've not got stealth either. So it's an unskilled skill, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a boon. So that basically will mean that you roll, it will say, so it says average. Can you see where it says average? And then underneath it says type normal.
Yeah, boom, yeah.
Change that to a boon and change it to a public role, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you can use, I think you can use, you could use either intellect or dex as your modifier. I think probably intellect.
Intellect for sure.
Yeah. And then you'll make your roll.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Oh, painful. Such a bad draw.
We can save this. Dax has got this. Don't worry.
Yeah. So he's chatting to you. And his head just flicks. His head just, like, he's chatting to you, and suddenly his head just flicks, and you hear this. And he's looking right at you, Reytar.
And can Dax reach out and sort of grab his head at that point and sort of pull it round with his bionic hand in a really unnecessary way and just say, "Excuse me, fella, I was talking to you. We're talking about pears here. I don't know what's going on up there, but I got some fucking pears to sell."
Yeah, okay, yeah, you could definitely do that. So I think what we will do that is we will make that as a melee check.
Yeah.
It's not an attack.
No.
But it's basically like a physicality.
Yeah.
And the effect of that melee check you can add to his roll that you just made.
Oh wow. So if I get an effect of 3, he makes it past. Okay.
He makes it past, yeah.
Right.
And you can use your dexterity,
Yeah.
or I would probably use dex as a modifier there.
So I'll go with melee, which is 0, which is fine.
Sorry, Dax. Rob in this case. Mike, can you please briefly describe me? Because apparently Rob knows, like what's a success and what's a failure.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So the effects.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you make a roll, like if I just pull your character sheet up, it will say Okay, so you've got the difficulty is set at simple.
Yeah.
Easy, routine, average, difficult, very difficult, formidable, or impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the number you have to beat.
Oh, I see. With my modifiers. So if it's average, I must beat 8. But because I rolled like whatever 7 minus 3 plus 1 or whatever,
yeah,
it was
you have to equal it or higher.
Yeah, and if for each point you're higher, you get 1 effect, which in combat is more damage, or in social situations is better success.
Is better success.
Okay, now I understand. So
if you fail it by 1, you can still succeed in the task, but there's a consequence.
Yeah, which I like as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell you what that consequence will be, and you will either agree or disagree. Now, also the other thing you've got, which we didn't also tell you, is you've got luck.
Luck,
of course.
Now you can burn luck in the individual session. Okay, so say you just missed it by 3.
Yeah,
you could burn 3 luck points and succeed.
It did make sense to do that in this situation, didn't it?
It might do, but I mean, who knows when you'll get that luck back?
Yeah, and I think Dax will maybe make his roll, and then it might give you an effect. So mechanically, Mike, if I do my roll, and obviously any effect on that will affect Reytar's stealth roll. So if I manage to get an effect of 3, he would get through. If not, can he then burn luck at that point?
I'm going to say you can do one or the other.
Right. Okay. I like that, one or the other.
Fair.
I mean, well, I tell you what. I'm going for an average skill check. I could always burn a bit of luck on my skill check to increase the effect.
Wow, that's a captain I need, that's for sure.
And Dax likes to take control of the situation, so I'm going to roll this. I'm going to grab his head as soon as he switches, because I know exactly what to look out for. I know that if he swivels and starts to look, so I'm just going to grab his chin, and it's completely unprofessional, and just pull it back round and be like, "Oh, I'm talking to you." And here we go.
Check.
Incredible. Wow.
Oh, right. So it's an effect of 0.
So you don't get the chance to add anything, but you could burn some luck.
So I could burn 2 luck.
Yeah.
And Reytar could succeed, but with a consequence that we either take or don't. Or I could burn 3 luck and he just succeeds. Now, the way I'm looking at this is my luck, the number in red is the amount you've got left, isn't it? It's the remaining of that stat. So
no, the number in red is what you've used.
Yes. Okay. So that's right. Yeah. Yes. I had 5 left that I was going to use last session to land, but Scratch used some of his luck to get me landed. So I've got 5 points of luck. So what I'm going to do, we're early in this journey, and I don't want any risk or any negative consequence for Reytar. So I'm going to burn 3 points of luck, taking me up to 7 out of 9 burned. That is how Dax rolls. Dax rolls.
Burning through luck like there's no tomorrow.
He's not skilled at many things. In reality, he's got swagger that is not backed up by his stats or his abilities, and he relies heavily on luck and charm. And so he's just going to grab the head, snap it back round. I've burnt an extra 3 luck so that Reytar gets past. And I was going, we were talking about pairs. I don't know what you're looking at over there, but we got business here. Focus.
Yeah, you snap him back to attention. He's, I'm terribly sorry, old chap. I thought, yes. Anyway, about pairs. Yes, if you can provide a sample, then I'll be totally happy to buy them at the price. But make sure they're good quality, mind you.
So Dax will just make sure, he'll keep making sort of small talk and going, Yeah, I mean, if I go back to Starport now, I could probably get him over here in the next 20 minutes. Absolutely. And he'll just keep blathering until Reytar is sort of beyond where Tom is. And then he'll go, yes, that's what I'll do. I'll be back here in 20 minutes. I'll bring you the best of the crop we got, and we'll see how they marry up to current market prices.
I'll
Thank
be
you, my
waiting.
friend.
I'll be waiting. Okay, bye-bye. Cheerio. See you later.
And he'll sort of swagger slowly through the brokerage hall and meet up with Reytar on the other side.
Okay, you've moved on. Okay, well done. Okay, so you've got through brokerage. Now you just said let me just take you back to the map. We're back at the map of the Highport, and we're sort of on the other side of brokerage. You've got through the sort of trading halls there.
Yeah.
You've got past broker Tom, and there's a short sort of mini maglev that goes across, so you could join the main maglev. But you said you were going to sort of drop down a few levels and try and
I was going to ask if there's a way for us to drop down through any kind of utility tunnels and head towards customs, sort of avoiding tourist services, because if there's any undesirables down there, Dax can speak to them on their level and sort of negotiate his way through. The fewer public spaces we go in, the better, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a staircase. I'm going to say you can get to this staircase and take like a, you've probably got some passes actually on your janitor robes.
Of course.
That will open up some of these little sort of doorways and sort of pass through. And that's lucky that you have that.
And Dax will at this point put his robes back on and take the bucket and everything. So he's now back.
Now you have the bucket with bleach, and I have the mop.
Yeah.
I kind of like, so we are janitors as one unit.
Yeah. We don't. You can't separate us. We're doing one job between two of us.
Okay. So you get this staircase, and there's like a metal in a sort of vertical kind of shaft, metal staircase that goes down a few floors, and it takes you into a sort of corridor, maintenance access corridor, a few levels below, and you sort of go along, and maybe there's another. You're looking at the map and you're sort of like, oh, which way do we go from here? Right, if we sort of take that way, that'll stop us, because maybe some of them go off towards the postmaster office and admin, probably don't want to go there. And you have to drop down a few levels and go along a bit and to the right a bit, and you're sort of working your way through. I think it might be worthwhile some kind of recon role there, Dax, to try and make sure you don't get totally lost down here.
Okay, what characteristics do you want with that?
Probably education.
Okay. Average?
Yep.
Oh, it's an effective -1.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I'm going to let you pass that. Okay.
In my benevolence.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so you've come, you've got your way through, and you've got lost a little bit. So you've basically had to sort of turn back and go, oh shit, it's not this way. Like, where the fucking hell are we? Like, you're sort of getting a bit lost. There's a bit of a time.
So we've like a little bit more time, basically. That's the consequence.
That's the cost.
It's like we're in Spinal Tap and we're trying to find the stage.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Totally. Yeah, but you managed to get this lift. There's the lift, and you're about 10 floors down now, below where you need to be to get access to your level, your docking bay. So you're going to get the lift. Let's take you to the elevator.
Okay. Oh, I don't like the music shift. Oh, that's elevator music. That's okay. I thought that was just really funky combat music.
Is there a music though? I don't hear it.
Oh yeah, I've definitely got a bit of music going on. Elevator.
Mike, are you recording the music for the game, right?
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. No, if you can't hear it. Okay. Oh, so it should be. Is your window silenced by any chance there, Andy?
Oh yeah, just obviously because
to avoid
the game is on the computer. I turned off all the music so it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Well, that's okay. So what you've got here is some elevator music.
You've listened to this way too much this week, haven't you?
I had a lot of fun finding this music. You're in this. I might just actually splice it back onto the track when it does arrive. Okay, so you're in this elevator, and I'm just going to turn it down a fraction so I can concentrate. And you're going to get a few floors up. So you're sort of like press the button, and you're nearly there, guys. You're nearly there. And it's about 10 floors. It's about 10 floors to go up. And you go up a couple of 2 or 3, you're going up, and then there's a light comes on, and the lift stops, and the doors open.
So Dax immediately at this point wants to just turn towards the wall, because that image of the lift looks a little bit filthy on the walls. And he wants to turn to the walls, and if he's got a cloth, he'll dip it quickly in the bleach and start wiping it just on the walls. If he doesn't have a cloth, he's just going to be rubbing it on with his bare hands, or he's sort of going to nudge Reytar and push the mop towards the wall, just so it looks like we're doing some work in the elevator, and keep our faces away from the door.
And as I was with a mop, I'm squishing this mop heavily. I instantly understand what Dax is about to do, and like actively participating.
We've got Dax over here doing a bit of cleaning.
Oh, it's all right. It's gangs. Oh no, hang on. That could be Syndicate. Shit.
So 2 people enter. There's a guy. There's this guy.
Oh God.
I recognize him.
Yeah. Got some like augmentations on the side of his face. Mohican. Looks like bad news. And then you've got his chick. She's pretty hot. Leather, kind of like plastic, kind of leather jacket, like patches on it, like sunglasses. You're in a fucking starport. No one needs to wear sunglasses. Yes. Oh, what's happened to me? It comes on again. That was me sort of fucking about with it. Do. And
the rest of the evening will be brought to you by.
Let's turn it down a fraction. Right. Okay. So you're in this elevator, and this couple sort of come in, and she's like chewing gum, like that, and she's like, "Hey, Paulie, like, what are we gonna do? Like, are we gonna find this guy or what?" And he's like, "I don't fucking know. Like, we'll fucking find him when we fucking find him. Let's just say he's going fucking nowhere." And they give you a bit of a glance. Your janitors, your cleaners, they don't pay much attention. Should we see whether they recognize Reytar, shall we?
Let's do it. I've ripped cybernetics out of much more fearsome men than him.
Okay, so he's going to make a recon roll.
He's no Mickey Blue Eyes.
Let's make it a public roll because it adds to the excitement.
Please do.
And let's make that a intellect roll. Please pass this. Please pass this.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh!
Go janitors.
because I was wearing this baseball hat. That's why it should have been even at a disadvantage, Mike.
Yeah, it's like you've no chance. Like we're invisible to them.
Oh,
we're lift cleaners.
I'm absolutely gutted. I'm absolutely gutted.
So my Dax was going to get some new cybernetics from him. We'll worry about that another day.
According to how I understand this game, effect of -3, it basically makes this guy forget about the existence of that guy in the universe. That's how it's going.
I love a man argue, like making his case to the GM. That is the way to play.
They sort of glance at you as what are you doing while you're in there?
So I'm busy wiping the walls, like the dirt on the walls, just scrubbing them with either any cloth or just with like a bit of bleach on my sleeve, just scraping away at the walls. The sleeve is right down Dax's arm, and he's trying to make it obvious that his hand is not a cyber hand. So he's using that hand sort of tucked under him, just wiping at the walls with his hat pulled down a bit.
And what are you doing, Reytar?
I'm mopping this corner. I'm mopping this corner as much as I can.
I think the chick needs to make a roll as well.
She's never even met him.
No, she's gonna have a negative.
Okay, I mean he has been all over the news, but
He has been all over the news, so she's gonna have a bit of. She's not met him, so she's gonna get a bit of a. She's gonna get a bit of a negative there. And let's make that.
Oh God.
Do 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 do.
Oh, and it was private this time.
Close. Chick 1. She doesn't recognize him either. She doesn't recognize him either.
Tension, Mike. I'm too
Palpable tension.
And the guy kind of looks over at you, Dan, and you, Dax, and he goes, "How you doing?"
And Dax just go, you know, different day, same old fucking shite, and just keep scrubbing at the walls.
The girl just goes, like, looks at you and just goes, chewing a chewing gum, like, just totally blank expression, like you're scum, like you're low and low. You know, she's scum as well, but
Dax can't help himself, and he's going to look over and say, "Yeah." He's just going to go, "All right, darling," and then he'll look at the fella and go, "Nice lass you got there. Done well for yourself." And then just go back to scrubbing.
Oh, that's some balls.
The problem is,
I look with like my character. Let me bring this character on the screen. You see, I don't know if you open my character, right?
Yeah.
Mike, could you please? That's really important. If you could bring up my character image.
Oh yeah, your image.
Yeah. So he has got those eyes, like slightly kind of
narrowed.
Narrowed,
yeah,
slightly narrowed eyes. But the moment Dex says that, they become like anime round eyes. Like that.
See, the thing is, right? Dax, the thing that Dax cannot stand, having spent a little bit of his early life as a belter, is being looked down on. Like, this is part of their disguise, but he's so used to being the guy in command and the starship captain, he'll always push his luck just a bit, because the moment she just sort of looks at him dismissively, he's not itching to start a situation, but he will not tolerate someone treating him like that. So he just has to throw in the little comment, and he immediately goes back to scrubbing the walls. But he's tensed and ready, because he knows that.
You go back to clean the walls, and you can just, like, in the reflection, you can just see the guy fucking looking at the back of your head, like he's just fucking staring at you. Dax
is he's working his arm up and down, just getting the mechanics absolutely loosened up, and he's trying to look in the bit that he's polished, and if the guy makes any kind of move, he's just going to snap round and just slam his fist into his face. But he's
got fucking someone to say, my friend.
Not at all, my friend. I was just offering you a compliment. I like your lady there. I think she's very pretty. I'm not interested myself. I like to drink Copperberg pear cider, if you know what I mean. All I'm saying is...
That's genius! Oh my God! Cheers to that. That's the best joke ever! Incredible! That's crazy! Basically, Dax, you're a Copperberg cider drinker.
Yeah, Dax has openly admitted that. He's fine with that. He's just polishing one little bit so he can see the guy's reflection. So all I'm saying is that you're a lucky man.
That's incredible. Oh my
Bing.
God.
The elevator door opens.
And
wow.
Dax will just sort of quickly look to Reytar.
Let's just move these guys open.
Oh God! Oh, I see. Someone's coming in. We've not reached our floor.
No, you've not reached your floor. But there's the guy near you.
Oh. Yeah.
Sort of leaning into your back. She's maybe sort of stood over here.
This could work for us.
And incoming, there's a police detective, a security officer. This guy.
I'm relatively happy with that. It might just diffuse the situation.
And there's a guy in full sort of security uniform.
Less happy about that.
Okay, so they come in and they just have a little look. They just sort of see everyone here. Let's just see if they recognize Reytar.
You're playing with my life, Mike.
Oh,
Do.
see, 2 of them I could deal with, but 4 of them. However, we can pit one against the other if need be.
I'm going to see if they recognize the criminals first.
Yeah. Wise.
Exactly. Law enforcement have just come in. It might just calm the whole thing down.
Law enforcement have just come in.
Not accidentally.
Let's just make this roll here.
It's private.
Okay, so he comes in and he looks in, and he sort of looks around and he sees this guy, this thug, this hoodlum, and he sort of says like, "What's going on here then?" And then he just looks at you two. I might have just said that as a private GM roll by accident, but
you did.
it's okay because he doesn't recognize your Reytar.
Oh,
let's see if the other copper does.
God, I'm so tense.
But also, the other cop, they should roll for the thug as well. Then.
Yeah.
They've recognized the thugs. So
yeah, so maybe that's drawn their attention.
It's drawn their attention. So
they're not focusing on the maintenance workers because they know there's crims in here. Yeah. -1 at least to the roll.
I'm going to give -1 to the roll because this is the copper, not the actual security guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't recognize you either.
That's dodging bullets right there.
This is far more tense than combat. I love this.
So they sort of come in, they're looking like, what's going on here then? And the thug guy just kind of steps back a little bit. It says, ain't nothing going on here at all. And the lift goes up. This is all happening in seconds. The lift goes up. Bing. It's not your floor. It's not your floor. The two, the thug and the girl, they leave. And you're stood in the lift with the 2 security guys.
Okay.
And they just look at you. Yeah. You okay, gentlemen?
We're just cleaning. You've seen the state of this place. It's people like that leave it in a condition like this. I'm glad you lot are around here so they don't make it any worse.
Yeah, well, you're safe now. We're safe now. Wilson, there's some reputable types knocking about. Keep your wits about you.
Thank you. Well, we felt better for having you here. We were uncomfortable in their presence. One of them implied that I was a Copperberg cider drinker. I didn't like that.
Rob, you are just genius at role playing. Which floor, gentlemen?
Do we know which floor, or are we just heading for?
Let's call it number 32. Level 32.
Yeah, Dax will do all the talking because just in case there's any monitoring.
That's absolutely clear.
Yeah, so Dax will say, we're heading up to 32. There's a cleanup job in customs apparently.
Okay.
And he'll sigh.
Okay, so bing, you get there. The two security people step aside. The door opens, and you walk out the lift. Okay. You've got yourselves to Starport Services. And there, gentlemen, we're just going to take a little wee break.
Yes. I need that. Back in 2.
We're going to take a wee break, right? I'll see you in a moment.
Crazy. Copperberg cider drink.
Do. Oof.
Mike, he implied that I'm a Copperberg side of drinking, if you know what I mean. That's genius.
He's a genius.
Unbelievable. That's amazing.
He is a genius. I wonder whether we have. Let's just see. Do. I thought I'd done a token for this guy. Doesn't really matter.
Looking at some deals on Deliveroo. Once you move to the town, the only like I start to order food, and you know I hate spending money, Mike. You know that perfectly, and that's on camera. I'm officially saying that. I tend to choose like less healthy options over the healthier ones because it feels more painful to pay for the vegetables you hate. You're supposed to eat vegetables, and it's okay once in a while. You can buy them in shop and try to like eat healthy, but actually ordering food which contains those healthy whatever vegetables and stuff, it's just when you choose a pizza or a salad, which is probably twice as expensive, it's just a torture to make those decisions. Like literally, Mike, you hate vegetables, you hate food of this kind of lifestyle. It's worth 2 times the pizza, and you have an app which brings you food like in 15 minutes. What would you choose, a pizza or those random vegetables?
Depends what night it was.
Mike, it's always pizza. and some pear cider.
Pizza night and pears.
and a couple of guys apparently.
Couple of guys.
Just apparently.
Yeah, sure about that.
With Deliveroo.
Okay, well done. You got past the thugs. You got past security. You're now in. Yeah, you got past Tom. You're now at tourist services, where you've got an appointment to meet Mabiga Kasi. Now, Mabiga Kasi that's a Valani name. Okay, so it's traditionally it will be a Valani name. They tend to have like Valani names tend to have lots of vowels in them, lots of A's and lots of E's and I's and O's, just lots of like quite long. They tend to be quite sort of long. So here he is. Let's view him. Ooh. Swarthy skinned, scruffy hair, kind of fairly nice sort of dark suit. He's sort of got a bit of a scowl, looks bored. And you walk into his office, and you've gone through reception and all that kind of jazz. And you walk into his office, and the door closes, and he just sort of frowns at you. Yes.
Yeah. Opal gave me to understand you could help out my friend here. We have a situation. She said you were the man to speak to.
Yes, of course. That's totally fine. It'd just be she did tell you the fee?
She didn't happen to mention it. Could you remind me?
40,000 credits.
You're joking, my friend. 40,000 credits, and Opal didn't happen to mention it. Now, I know your service is a specialist, but as a specialist myself, I wouldn't dream of paying you more than 20,000.
It's totally fine if you wouldn't dream of paying me more than 20,000, because the price is 40,000. I mean, take it or leave it. This is not a negotiation.
Interesting.
I might let you make a roll.
Okay.
To sort of knock the price down.
Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to make a request here. Can I make a streetwise roll?
Ooh,
as a member of the underworld and the criminal.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Dax is carrying this game.
Yeah.
Well,
with his parasiter jokes, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. So let's say, how would we work this? We need to agree the terms to this roll before we do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you make that, so 20,000.
Yeah.
So there's basically, this price is 40,000.
Yeah.
Minus 20,000 is what you've got.
Yeah.
So there's a differential of 20,000, isn't there?
It's certainly what Reytar has given me. Dax doesn't really want to dip into his own pocket at this point, unless we really have to.
Okay. But I mean, Reytar could owe you, couldn't he?
Well, indeed. And, you know,
but it's maybe
Dax happens to have 21,000 on him. So we've got just enough to cover it if it all goes tits up. However, never once take the first price.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you make a streetwise roll as you try and convince him. I mean, what else are you saying here? You saying anything else here? If you do a good job, I'll let you.
I'll sort of lean over the table and just very casually, completely non-threatening, and just sort of look him in the eye, engage him straight on and say, look, I know you're doing a difficult job here. What you're doing is risky and it's challenging. I'm a man of the darker side of life myself, and therefore I know the risks you're taking. I've heard your boss is a bitch. You know, you can't take risks on this thing. And we're in a bit of a pickle here. We need the job doing. However, I also work these streets myself. It's not my first rodeo, friend. Let's negotiate. This is how true businessmen work.
Okay, so make your streetwise roll. And what I'll say is for every +1 effect, you'll get 3,000 credits off the price.
Okay. So average roll.
Average roll.
And I'm going to say intellect is probably the most relevant stat, which is +0 for Dax, but I think it's the most relevant. So here we go. Oh, God. Oh, no. He managed it. So he got an effect of 0. At least he didn't upset the guy.
The price is the price, my friend.
Dax is going to just smile at him and go, you drive a hard bargain, my friend, but I can respect that. Fine, 40,000, but we need to do it quick. No complications, and it needs to be a good job. Because if we get found between here and the Starport, you owe me at least 40,000, my friend, plus expenses for any fucking trouble. And he's going to fork over Reytar's 20k and his own 20k as well.
Reytar, do you want to do anything while this deal is going down?
And can I use my persuade skill?
Ooh.
What? Just tell me what you want to do, and I'll tell you what skill to use.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Getting accustomed.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm saying, look. Sorry, I have written down his name. Look, Mabigar. I think Dex phrased it quite well. But he did mention the boss, and maybe, just maybe, you didn't read between the lines that we know that your boss's name is, and I didn't write the boss's name. About
I've got the boss's name. The boss's name is, she is, oh, you don't know the boss's name. Don't know the boss's name, just know she's a hard ass.
Yeah, we know she was difficult.
But we know your boss is a hard ass, and I guess we don't know it just from a random someone, we have at least one shake of hand connection with her. And let's keep it civil. You knock the price, we will owe you a favor. You don't knock the price, it just happens your boss may hear about what you're up to here.
And he smiles and he laughs and he sort of sits back. So, just to be clear, let's just so I can get this right in my head. Maybe I should say it so you don't have to say it. You're threatening me.
That's
just a yes.
Dax is going to lean back, and so that Reytar is center stage. He's going to cross his arms, look vaguely threatening, but mainly he's just sort of beaming at the back of Reytar's head, because there's a bit more to this guy than Dax thought when he first dragged him out of a stinky spunk closet in janitor's robes. This is the first time that Dax has thought that he's not an easy payday. He might be a really valuable member of the crew, and he's just going to sit back like a bodyguard and say nothing and just smile.
I wouldn't call it a threat. I would call it a bargain. You know, I used to be a trader my entire life, and let's say I'm using every option for a good trade, and this is my option for a good trade. Let's not call it a threat.
So you're going to make a streetwise roll, Reytar.
No, maybe a person. No.
Persuade, surely.
Okay, I'll let you make a persuade.
The man's skilled at persuade. That's how he, he's not streetwise. He's business-wise.
Okay, I'll let you make a persuade.
No, so sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to get in the. It wasn't.
No, it's okay. If you could justify, like if you can, I'm happy to be argued.
That's half the fun, is justifying. My character does this because this is their experience, and yeah.
I believe I was about to persuade the guy that he needs to give me this deal.
Okay, and you're going to make I would say you're going to use your intellect as a modifier there. I'm not going to let you use education.
Fair enough.
But you're going to get a chance to use education, so don't despair too much.
And I have got luck.
Got some luck.
Roll, please.
An effective 6. That's 18 grand, you said.
Shit, I did say that.
He's really scared of his boss.
So he sort of leans back and he looks at you. His eyes narrow. You know how yours eyes widened before? Yours now is narrow.
Like anime.
Yeah. And his go.
You drive a shrewd bargain, Mr. Cavalan. But a friend of Opal's is a friend of mine. 22,000 it is. And suddenly the door opens.
Oh, I knew this was going to happen.
In walks Luna Akaru. She's fairly small, little lady, petite, about 5'2", 5'3", thin, little. She's got a hard face, completely emotionless. She walks in. She doesn't even knock or buzz. She just kind of walks in, and she's got a certainly formal business suit, like thin tie. She just kind of looks in. She doesn't really say much to you, and she goes up to. She says to Mabligo, "Have you had those reports to me, Mab? I really need them by the end of the working day." And he says, "Yes, of course, Luna. I'll get those to you." And she sort of glances over at you two, and just this better not be personal work in this better not be personal recreational time in work time here, Mab. I've warned you about this before. And she's just blatantly sort of giving him a bit of a fucking earful. And he's like, no, not of course. These gentlemen were just this gentleman was just sorting out his Starport services, Starport access personnel data. And she sort of she turns to look at you, Reytar, and she says, "Oh yes, what seems to be the problem then?"
So Dax, at that point, is going to clap Reytar on the shoulder and pull him into a friendly embrace, because Dax has just seen the absolute value of this guy who knocked 18 grand off a price that he couldn't negotiate with someone in an underworld fashion. And he's going to say, "Excuse me, my lady, but I'm an independent starship captain, bit of a trader, if you know what I mean. This man here is a new member of my crew. I wanted to get him registered as his official business. This man was doing a very good job for us, and I'm afraid you're disturbing him. Who might you be?"
Are you still in your cleaning outfits?
Quite possibly, yes. We didn't take them off. I'm carrying a bucket of bleach.
You look like Janitor. She just
And
kind
I've
of
got
looks.
bleach stains all down my sleeve where I was wiping it up and down the wall of the lift.
So she looks at you as like
I forgot about that.
you smell of solvents.
Well, when I say independent starship captain, the jobs don't always come easy. Sometimes we find work where we can get it.
And who is it who's looking for who is it who's having problem with their authorization papers? We'll call them papers, but they're and it's you.
There's no problem with the papers. I was merely registering Lucas here, my new crew member, aboard my starship. I don't see why there's a hold up here. The things were going through fine. Everything was processing above board.
She cuts you off mid. If it's you, she speaks to you, Reytar. If it's you who is having problems, why are you speaking? And Mab is just sort of sat there quiet.
It's my ship, my lady. I always take a personal interest in my crew. We run everything above board on my ship, and I make sure my guys have been vetted properly.
And I add to that lady, as someone who feels very respectful to subordination, I believe you would understand me, that I respect my boss, I let my boss help me and control some of the aspects of my job, and I very much respect this subordination relationship. You would understand.
And Dax immediately sort of cuts across him and goes, "You see, the lad's a bit simple. I was just making sure that everything was above board. If we got a problem here, we've got a shipment to take out, but I want to make sure we're all legit."
So Reytar, we're going to make an opposed admin roll.
Oh my God, brilliant admin.
What's an opposed admin role?
So have you got an admin skill?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, so we're basically going to both roll for admin, and whoever gets the highest wins.
Okay.
So we're going to fight. It's combat, but it's about rules and regulations.
All right.
Okay.
So what do I use as my modifier? Education or
I'm going to let you use education.
Yes. Come on, Reytar. Let's knock this girl down a peg.
Let's repeat the 18,000 success.
Yeah. Oh, it's an 11. Can she beat an 11? Oh shit, she can.
No, but I use my education, right?
Yep.
And you used what?
I used education as well.
She is a very skilled administrator.
She's top class. She's department lead.
Wow. Yes.
Do you want to burn some luck?
I definitely do want to burn some luck.
Okay, so you're gonna need to burn 3 luck, aren't you, to beat her?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that.
On your luck, if you see where it's in red, it says 0.
Yeah.
Change that to 3.
I did.
Okay.
I had before I changed it to 0, I had like small +1. What does it mean?
Okay, so that's your dice modifier. If I ask you to make a luck roll,
okay.
it will now say your luck dice modifier will be something like it'll still be +0.
Got it. Yes, got it now.
Yeah. You're just a bit less
-2.
You're just a bit less
I did
now.
burn 3 luck for sure for that roll.
Yeah, okay. So you'll burn your 3 luck. You succeed in the admin role. And we're going to say like you've basically given her the rules for, like, this is why I need this pass to allow me to sort of like continue to work on the ship and get in and out of the port because of trading. And she, very well, very well. Just get on with it, Mab, and see that you get back to that report. I absolutely need it by the end of the day. And she curtly nods and she walks out sort of quite briskly. And Mab just kind of brushes his hands through his kind of rough hair, and he's like, "Fucking hell, it's fucking close." And okay.
I'm going to laugh as well and say, wow, Map, this was close. I'm so glad we negotiated the price earlier. And look, mate, if you need help with those reports, let's see if I could help you with them if you're having trouble once I get my documents sorted and once I get my things done. I'd like to leave it on a good note.
He sort of like gives you a really condescending smile, and he says, "This won't take too long." So he basically now starts altering the data that's got your biometrics attached. So you won't basically trigger the security cameras and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to make a security camera roll to see if you've been detected so far, but there's going to be a bit of a modifier for that because of your fantastic disguises.
Yeah, thank God we've still got them on. That worked against us for a little while.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, we don't know one way or the other.
You don't know one way or the other. Okay.
I mean,
all right. So
there's no securities forming yet.
There's no securities forming there. Okay, so you've got your
it's 22k, isn't it? So
22k.
Dax is going to give them, obviously Reytar's 20, and then he'll spend 2k of his own.
Yeah. So Reytar, if you look on your finances tab,
I have it at 0.
Yeah, you already
You've
took
done
it
it at
all
0,
off,
yeah.
you gave it to Dax. So Dax has got his own 2k. Now Dax initially was thinking, like, Reytar will pay that back with inflation. This is great. This is an investment. Dax is now just delighted because we've been through 2 situations there that he was utterly confident and cocky about, as he always is. He failed to negotiate the price. He failed to impress her, and Reytar won on both those occasions. And he's seeing not only the chance for adventure and this guy's bringing heat, which Dax likes. It's fun. But he sees the skills of this guy and he's like, we have nothing like this. And he's now in Dax's mind, he's introducing Reytar as a new crew member when they get back. He won't let on. There's that $2,000 will be mentioned 1,000 times over, but really he's just happy to have the guy on board.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, lovely. So you leave the office and things seem to go quite well. Let's just bring the map back of the Highport. Let's see how close you are from
Okay.
So there's tourist services. You get through customs, and you can get through customs either through foot or maglev. We'll just assume the cameras basically are now no real threat. Whether you were detected on your way to tourist services, only the GM knows for sure. And you're heading to the civilian shipyard, where actually the shipyard is where the ships are made. So then you're going to have to get this long maglev train line over to the civilian docks.
So thankfully, at least we can now take the maglevs in relative security. Oh, look at that.
So here we go. Back to the do. You don't hear this music, do you, Reytar? It's such a shame.
I can hear it. I can turn it on, but I won't be able to record it.
That's okay. That's okay.
I love it. Like Cordan Highport is like one of the most technological wonders in this part of the galaxy. and they've got one music that plays in every system.
It's 3 tracks
Yeah,
that are just looped forever.
they're regulated by the government. These are the approved. They're the approved tracks that keep violence levels down, keep the gangs down.
Keep the gang down. So it's really nice. It's got like a fairly sort of clean sort of plastic, and it's pretty quiet. And you're heading along on the train. You're heading along on the train there, and it's not long. It's basically just kind of 10 minutes. And the only reason I'm really showing you that image is because I really love it. It's gonna serve absolutely no use because you've already negotiated the gangs and the security. It doesn't matter.
It looks lovely.
It looks lovely. And a few minutes later, there's a couple of stops and people get on, people get off, and no one gives you a thought. You're able to breeze effortlessly through security and past anyone. If anyone recognizes you.
But I still take the precaution measures and I mop the floor and kind of keep myself to the corner and like really keep the low profile. I believe it's important.
Dax is now acting like a starship captain. He's in his full like maintenance outfit with the bleach stains down his arm. He's got a bucket of bleach, which he's now sort of holding like some kind of mythical totem. He's like, this is great. I might use this again. But he's just lounging on the seat. He's smoking a cigarette. He's smiling at Reytar. He's sort of winking at people on the maglev. He's just not bothered. He's now decided that we're that close to the coup, we're that close to the ship, that really Reytar can actually handle himself in a social situation, and he's just going to sit back and see what the lad does. And if it creates havoc, then he'll deal with it. But he's really enjoying this now. He's along for the ride.
Okay, lovely. All right, so a few minutes later, you're sort of starting to relax. It seems like you're relaxing a little bit here, are you? You feel like you've not quite there. You've sort of getting there. You've got through security anyway. The new biometrics allow you to sort of breeze through all the sort of fingerprint and iris recognition and all that kind of stuff, and you just kind of easily sort of go through, and you're heading back to the hangar bay where your ship, the coup de grace, awaits. Do we actually get into the ship? Are you actually going to get into the ship?
No, I know how you roll. As we're about to disembark, Dax is going to take off his hat and his hairnet and his work clothes. As the captain of the ship, he's going to sort of make sure that he's dressed as the captain of the ship again. Partially because he doesn't think the disguise is necessary, and partially because, he, in his mind, we beat the security scanners, we got to everything. He's now walking up to his own ship, whatever. He's taking all that off, and he's just going to be himself.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to make some kind of roll, aren't we, to see. Feels like a kind of, I don't know, it feels like maybe a luck roll is in need to see if there's anything there.
Well, I think Reytar should roll it because nobody knows what Dax looks like.
I think Reytar needs to roll for luck because it's not Dax.
It's -2, so
Dax can walk away from this at any time.
Well, that's it.
So we're going to see whether there's any security there who might just have a chance to recognize you. So on your character sheet, Reytar,
clicked it. Yeah, average.
Dax hasn't dropped the bucket of bleach, by the way. He's
average normal public roll.
Average public roll.
Six. I'm probably going to burn 1 luck.
Okay, so there'll be a consequence.
Just because I'm always extremely careful. And not like at this point, we kind of squeezed luck so much.
Yeah.
Doing another tiny squeeze.
Just a bit.
It's called in economical terms as sunk cost. It's already there.
Let's just keep squeeze a little bit more out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double down on it.
So the ship, you disembark the train, and there's a short walk, and then you open up into this fairly sort of cavernous hangar where the coup de grace is birthed, and It's pretty quiet sort of there. You do pass, as you disembark from the train on the platform, you do pass a security guard, and he gives you a look. He doesn't react. He just gives you this look. And as you sort of walk past him, and maybe you just sort of turn back a little bit and you see him, he's turned around and he's just kind of watching you. He's not reacting, but he's clocked you. We'll find out if there's any consequence to that at some point in the future. And that, gentlemen, is where we're going to leave it tonight.
Oh, wow.
That was amazing, Mike.
That was really tense, especially.
It was. I think that
escaped.
It was an excellent exercise in how no combat or altercation is needed for a situation to be unbelievably tense and uncomfortable. It was brilliant.
It's a bit of a short one. You know, a couple of hours is relatively short for us, but it felt like it's the right moment to leave it, because the next session, we're going to embark on the assault on the dam.
Oh. So as we're sort of approaching the coup, Dax is properly relaxed now. Like, he can see home up ahead.
Yeah,
he's got this guy to where he said he would for Opal. Technically, the guy owes him $2,000. That's, you know, that might be brought up several times in the future. However, he thinks that maybe Reytar can make a lot more than $2,000 for this crew. We don't do a lot of buying and selling. And
I'd like, and as we go in that situation, I think it's important to kind of close the scene from my point of view as a Reytar, saying that, look, Dex, it's been a hard ride, but it's been a million times easier with you. I wouldn't have done it. And I kind of know that I owe you twice for $2,000 and for my life. And, you know, maybe at this point, $2,000 is more of a price right now. But on a good side, you know, I still owe this useless ship which I can't fly. It gives some money over a month, like $20,000. I'm sure I'll be able to pay you back with that income. But also, Dax, you know, I forgot
something as well, Reytar. I forgot to tell you something. Carry on.
Sorry?
I forgot to tell you about something as well. Before
Did I lose that as well?
There's something else.
Oh no!
Oh God! Okay, I mean GM.
Carry
Mike.
on. Carry on. What you're saying?
What you're saying. When I say "oh God," I mean "oh GM Mike." Mercy on me.
The God.
Yeah. Oh God of my destiny. Wow.
Carry on. What you're saying? I don't. Sorry to interrupt your flow. I don't know.
Proper prison time for those religion kind of comments. Anyways, so and I'm saying, look, Dex, maybe today my life is probably less of a favor than $2,000, but you know, I'm as you could see, I'm not a passionate fighter. Maybe some would say I'm a passionate lover maker. You found me in the shagging closet at the end of the day, but. But what I'm really passionate is about making money, and you know, I wasn't expecting that, and I developed as a character because previously I was thinking, like, as I was living my adventure on my own, naturally, as I was creating character, as we kind of evolved his characteristics. I thought, oh, that's kind of a character who'd probably like trick someone who even may trust him, maybe even willing to do some beyond very socially acceptable things to make extra cash, and still are, but not to the guy who literally saved his life. Like, that was a very natural evolution of Reytar, where he thought, wow, that feels a little bit more than money, and it just felt awesome.
I think it's interesting because the characters do it, they evolve, and the character relationships evolve every session. And Dax definitely started with, like, Opal asked him to rescue a guy for no money, but he'll owe you. And Dax was, we could take him, if he's wanted, maybe we sell him back, who knows. But he's seen Reytar get him out of two situations he couldn't negotiate out of, which is normally his sort of relatively strong suit, especially with the underworld kind of guys.
Mm.
But he sees a sharp man who can talk his way out of trouble. And Dax isn't actually a natural fighter. Like, the bionic arm was a result of that. It was a result of that time we got kidnapped. And he was completely bested in combat, and he felt so terrified by it. He got all these massive cybernetic enhancements. And I think there's a couple of things from Dax's point of view. That one is, so he'll sort of turn to Reytar and just say, I think you undervalue yourself there, my friend. You more than pulled your weight on this one. Without you, we'd have been stuffed, and we'd have been much, much poorer, which is not something I typically like. Now, my crew, essentially, we're traders. We don't always trade on the right side of the law, but we're traders. What we need is a broker who can handle those trades and get us the best money for our investment. Now, that looks like you, my friend. And then he'll just very gently, not in the same way that he grabbed Tom, he'll just sort of lift Reytar's chin a little bit and just look at the mess that the monitor left on his face. And he'll say, the thing we can do for you, my friend, is get back to whoever did that to you and make sure they never do it again. Because that's something I can do.
So Reytar, during this time, it could have happened while you were in the shagging closet, or it could have happened during the journey, or it could be happening now. You've been looking at your accounts. Now, Reytar, you're a businessman. You've got a number of accounts. You've got your personal account, you've got the business account, and there's a number of other accounts for bills and things. So your personal account had the 20,000 in, and that account had been emptied. That account was gone. And what's his face? Arthur lent you 20 grand, didn't he?
Yeah.
You also had some business accounts which had about 150, 160,000 credits in. Okay, not money you can just touch because it's tied up in investments and all this kind of stuff. And there's obviously the money from leasing your ship, the quarter share of the ship. That money has gone. The accounts are all empty. It seems, from what you can see, in fact, have you got investigate or anything like that, or
I am looking.
you've not got investigate.
Roles.
Make an electronics roll with
What?
education as a skill. There's an electronics skill
Yeah,
there, which is 0.
I have streetwise, if that's applicable. I don't know. So
no, electronics.
Okay. Yes. Normal public roll. Yeah. Modifier.
Education.
Nice. Squeeze it.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, what it looks like has happened, if I give you the sort of the quick version, is that it looks like someone's stolen your identity. Okay. They've emptied your accounts, and it's been happening for quite some time. So you've had this, when you've been accessing your accounts, you've not been accessing your accounts, you've been accessing like a cloned web page, basically, that's over the top of your real accounts, and somebody has been taking money out, and that money is now all gone.
1 second, this is a really important moment. Excuse me, sir, can you please nail me on the back of the card? I need three numbers from the back.
It's like that, but like it's all gone. The accounts are all closed because there's been loads of payments that have been missed. That's why all your bills were not being paid. That's why your phone bill hasn't been paid. Your TV bill, basically your Hollow Show bill hasn't been paid. All these bills were being like all these direct debits or standing orders kind of things. They're all being returned. All your business accounts have been emptied. Someone has been cloning your account. You don't know who it is.
Okay, so I estimate that I lost about 160,000
at least.
at least.
And then you've got a quarter owner of the ship, and who knows what's going on with that. And don't forget, there was those criminals. That guy, that capo, said, "You're a degenerate gambler, and it's nice to meet you at last." Now, if I replay that little scene, he said, "It's nice to meet you at last. You're a degenerate gambler, and we've been doing business for quite some time, and it's been mutually beneficial." Now, you don't know him. You've not been doing business with him.
Of course.
I've been wondering about this since that scene, because from what Andy had described as Reytar initially, I was like, that he doesn't sound like a degenerate gambler and stuff. But I wondered if that was like backstory.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you a degenerate gambler, Reytar?
No. It did. I thought, well, Mike is pushing me to the limits. I guess I have to take it.
And did you have business with the mob?
I didn't know. It
No,
didn't feel like.
no. But
No.
someone has stolen your identity, and they've been doing business with the mob. Who could it be? Who could it be?
And what the hell happens when the crew of the coup find him?
To find out in the future.
It's one of the 4 guys.
What,
and
the
they
three
know-
guys in your what's it
know
called?
I'm sure that ship Syndicate, one of them's dirty, and I reckon it's that big lady.
No. It's that guy who looks like almost like. If I say British, am I going to end up in prison?
Yes, and yes,
There they are.
Wenders.
Brina. You've got Brina Urasek. She was the one who fucking phoned you up. What the fuck is going on? You've got Wenders Len. And you've got Arta Akrashash, the guy who's sent you the money.
Who made me a solid, and I think I considered him as a friend, mostly. That's brilliant.
Oh,
So are we continuing this game tomorrow? Yes.
yeah, please. So much backstory. This is amazing.
One of them set you up, haven't they? One of them stolen your identity.
Because that's the only people who potentially could. That's the only people who knew me enough.
Yeah. And if you've lost your ship shares as well, they've benefited from that.
Oh no! Don't say it! Don't say it out loud. Not yet. Not yet.
That to be continued.
Oh my god! That was absolutely amazing.
Or we could just forget it and start making money by mopping floors and trading on the broker.
To be fair, I reckon janitors' wages are pretty good. And if we took down a couple of criminals in those lifts, we'd get some bounties.
Cordan Highport pays a living wage, 11 credits an hour.
Okay, so I recall to my childhood mathematics, where I say that 11 credits, if I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then I will not spend any money on anything, including rent. It makes me about, let's see if I can make it. So, okay. It's about 40, it's almost 50K. It's almost 50K a month.
And Dax will return to Reytar in this warm fancy and just say, "We can make it that in an afternoon, my friend. You've joined the right people now. What you had before, that wasn't money. We're going to make some money together."
Maybe not worth spending time on those stocks and start making real money then.
So next week, gentlemen, we are going to investigate what is in the mountains.
The mountains. Oh
yes. And one of the things I realized last week when I watched the replay was that when I said there was a program within the software of the dam that reroutes the power, what I didn't really explain when people were like, well, what's the relevance of that? It reroutes the power to the dam supplies power to the starport. It reroutes the power from the starport to this location in the mountains.
So somewhere in the mountains is drawing a lot of juice.
Yeah, it's not doing it yet, but the potential is there.
Yeah, there's a facility that might need a lot of power. Right.
Yeah, which is what you're going to go investigate.
And hopefully we'll struggle without it and make it easier for us. Nice. I am really looking forward to Dax introducing Reytar to the crew next week after our little adventure. That's going to be
Can't
so
believe
much
we
fun.
made it out of the lift.
I-
I can't believe it. I had no
I
idea
really
how this
thought-
fight would unfold with my 2 strength and 3 dexterity. I'd probably hit you.
So
I was,
I
I
had,
was,
I had
I was
zero
waiting for
damage.
us to have to hit people with mops and stuff. That was brilliant. I mean,
that was my whole scene. I was thinking, if anyone fails, if they recognize this is going to descend into violence,
Yeah.
and it'll be fighting with mops and buckets, and I thought that would be quite hilarious in itself.
I mean, when they came into the lift, just the 2 thugs, I was like, this is fine. Because my plan was, I'm wiping away. I'm looking at the guy. If he like his girlfriend's non-committal, if he reacts, Dax wasn't going to swing around and punch him. Dax was going to tip the bucket of bleach on his head and then try and intimidate the girl. But then the security officers came in. It was like, right, double chance for us to be spotted. But maybe the security officers are more annoyed with the criminal.
I decided I was just going to see what happens with the look of the rolls and see. And actually, it all went in your favor. So it was.
It's the best way to play it because it just leads to better storytelling. It was so much fun.
The roll which went really in our favor is 6-5 and the 18k.
the 18k
incredible. It's
save.
incredible.
I mean, Dax is like, I'm a streetwise ex-pirate. I'll negotiate this guy. Nothing. And then Reytar's like, I'm a businessman. We'd do this. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll knock 18k off. And that, I love that as character development because that was the point that Dax just went, no, this guy's useful. He's not just a bargaining chip. He's a complete asset because I couldn't do that. And immediately Dax is like, yeah, cost $2,000, whatever, but saved 18 in the space of a 2-minute conversation. Oh, thank you. That was just so much fun.
Nice one, guys. Well, okay, that's it. Well, let's call it a night, and let's recce. We'll catch up next week, and we'll have the full party, which is and we'll
together.
Crew together, and we'll go exploring the mountains.
Awesome, thanks, Mike. That was
Andy.
amazing.
If you can send me that file somehow, and I'll put the audio on top.
I'll try to.
I'm going to stop it. Should we do it? Stop it on 3? Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. You'll align it with